Hey guys, it's me, Jerome from Team First Class Yu-Gi-Oh! I just went 3-2 on my locals using Crusadia Guard Dragons. It's a really fun deck. It incorporates one of the better archetypes from the Cybernetic Horizon set and throws in a bunch of dragons, and it works. I'm here to show you the deck profile for them, so we're just going to go right into it. Alright, let's get into it. The bread and butter of Crusadias, 3 Maximus. All the Crusadias have the same effect if they're special zoned to a zone a link monster points to. They all have their own unique effects. With Maximus, if he's summoned, he can double the battle damage for the link monster the Crusadia link monster he points to. He's the OTK enabler. Then we have Crusadia. His summon effect is when he summons to a link zone, you could tribute
the monster and pop one spell drop on the field.
No, it's just target one Crusadia and one card your opponent controls and just destroy both of them. So you could just throw them out there if they have like there could only be one or like a spell and trap you have an issue with. Just throw him out, he'll destroy something, and then you're all good. Arborea, your Crusadia tuner of the deck. She has no on-field effect, but when she's in the graveyard, she can protect your Crusadias from destruction or not battle damage, but battle.
Is she a tuner?
I literally said she's the tuner of the deck, China.
Oh, okay.
Wow. She's very good. She helps you get into Dawn Dragster, which we'll get into. So yeah, she's one of the better ones. And then the guy helps you get into all your Guard Dragon plays, Draco. When he's special summoned, you can target a Crusadia in your graveyard and add to your hand. So this helps you recurse some of your Crusadias, either to summon them more, if you're doing an OTK, or just to have them in your hand if you need extra summoning, or when you get into Sayuja, you have stuff to send back into the deck while still keeping your hand relatively full. And the last one, Leonis. When he's summoned, he does piercing damage. He goes hand in hand with Maximus. If your opponent has defense monster, just pair them two together with Eco Max. That just pretty much destroys the opponent's face down 90% of the time. Some extenders, spellcaster monsters, Ranryu, Gigabyte, and Inari Fire. Mostly Ranryu, because this is the Guard Dragon variation, so he's a dragon, he works. But these three are a little bit extras, that's why I only have one of each.
What do you choose those monsters?
They can get summoned off of Magius. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Or pretty much Magius or Reclusia. Because they're both spellcasters, you just need spellcasters to summon them out.
Oh.
So frankly, if you have one of each, which you can only have one of each on the field, you can just throw them all out, either with Magius on the field or Reclusia. You just have a bunch of monsters, and if you want to, you can go into Bulbasaur like right off the bat, or Saryuja. But that's never really done early on. They just sit there for other linking that you have to do later on in the game. 2 Rocket Tracer. There has been times where I draw 1 and a quick launch. So having 2, I can still reuse that quick launch to synchro into.
This is an engine?
This is the only rockets. So I won't say too much about an engine. It's just these and quick launch.
So basically another dragon.
It's just more dragons to just throw in Guard Dragon variation. More dragons, the black and white dragons. Search one-ofs, which makes sense. I feel like these are cards that should be one-ofs. Work off each other, help you get monsters out. Didn't use this too often. Use it like one game. If there's a monster in an extra monster zone, you can summon it. It's an extra summon just in case you need to summon something toward Crusadia Link Zone. But it can also be used for your opponent's monsters, because once he's summoned, he can take either mine or my opponent's extra monster zone monster and equip it to him. So when he attacks, he can summon that other monster and attack again. So it's sort of like an extra battling monster, just in case your Crusadia gist doesn't go out properly. You can just summon him out, take your opponent's monster, attack with the other monster, and then you got a good chunk of damage on them, and they don't take their monster back. That's why it's only at 2. If I get into it, it's good. If not, it's not that big of a deal. World Crown. I might cut this. I don't use it too often. Like most of them, it's just summoned for a link zone. Just have an extra body on board. But it's a one of, and I don't see it too often. I have so much other stuff I could summon, so this might get cut, but it's always good to have. But yeah, it's not completely necessary. Sea Turtle, Gamma Seal. He has a second effect. Most people don't know. Most people don't realize even when they have him on their field. He can negate and banner stuff multiple times. It's not once per turn. So once you get Kyoto on the field, like, you can just go off with him and just stop your opponent. Usually it's 2 times, but if you like let them play a card, you can get counter back on your Kyoto, so he's back up again, negating something else that they might play. He's a one of, you can just search him off Kyoto, and you don't need him right off the bat. And then lastly, Darkness Battle Dragon, the Dragon Resurrector? Is that a good right word? Resurrector, you summon him off your LP.
Best card for guard dragons.
The best guard, both LP and Pissy, they work. So LP brings them out, and he just brings out whatever, usually Draco, and that brings you up to Sayuja, and you go off from there, draw what you need to draw, and get your hand fixed.
Now for spells?
Spells. Call by Grave. Your combo deck. You need to stop them from stopping your combo. Stop the hand traps. Whatever nonsense they might have in their hand that gets sent to the graveyard. Or whatever is just sitting in the graveyard that they have prepared for you. Quick Launch. Bring those rockets out. 3 of, and it's not once per turn, so if they ash it or negate it, whatever, I can play another one if I have another one in my hand. People don't expect that, and it's always great. 2 Kyoto and a Terraforming. I used to play 3 Kyoto, but I ended up seeing it way too often, either with a Terraforming or another Kyoto. So I cut it down to 2 and let Terraforming kind of be like the 3rd one. Like I said earlier, this is just to search out the Kaiju. Once it's stacked up on the 5 counters, Gamma Seal takes them off for negation. And if they target this to destroy, you can just remove a counter to protect it.
And why don't you use your Crusadia refuel spell?
Just to keep negates, just to have negates.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. I do side off into the Crusadia field spell sometimes in my side deck. 2 main role legacy cards you're gonna want to use. You only really need to use one of each because you can search them out with a crawler, and they're not 100% needed in order for the deck to work.
Why do you have 1 or 2 of World Legacy Guard
World
Dragon?
Legacy Guard Dragon,
Let's see.
maybe you can run a second one, but it's like a once per turn thing, and it's only when it's activated.
Oh, okay.
And it's continuous, so it's gonna sit on your field. And the only thing it does on the field is move your dragons, which isn't always necessary because you're gonna have a lot of zones with Sayuja, and you can kind of play around with those zones in order to make this work. And then Succession, just a monster born for like monster arrows. Pot of Avarice, thank God it's back. Your graveyard gets filled up with tons of monsters. So just shuffling them back and drawing 2 is always a plus. Glad it's back, and it works out one. Hopefully it gets there when you need it. 1 Rhoda, 1 Rhoda, and 1 monster born. Basic searches and summons. The Crusadia Crawler, summon to Link Zone, and it searches for World Legacy. Always good to have, especially if you have Ecomax on the field. He gets a little buff from its attack, but then its effect also goes off, so it's always good to have. Now, one impermanence, not really necessary. I just threw it in there because I had one. And if you're made to go second, maybe you could stop them since you have no cards on the field. Or if you go first, you can hold them off and negate something, and hopefully negate a back row as well. Extra deck, 2 Magus. Your main searchers of the extra deck monsters. When a monster is summoned to a zone he points to, he can search for another Crusadia from your deck to your hand. Usually it's Draco. If you're going OTK, you can go for Maximus or Leonis. Those are like the main 3 ones you're usually going to search with him.
Why don't you run a 3, not 2?
Extra deck is way too filled.
Yeah.
There's enough monsters in the extra deck. If we had more, it'd be ridiculous. Spatha, starter of the Guard Dragon plays. Summon your Draco, get whatever back from the graveyard, and then link away the Draco for your Pisty, or LP, sorry. Your LP, and then you just go off from there, summon Darkness Metal, and do all your shenanigans. Regulix, help you get to your Ecomax for your OTK plays, and searches out Crawler when a monster is summoned to the zone he points to. The big boy Ecomax gains attack to wherever he points to, and has a negate from using a Crusadia or World Legacy monster he points to. You can stop a card on the field and hopefully delay so you can do your OTK. Other big boy, Avermax, also an MVP of the deck because he's just strong for a lot of decks. He can't be targeted, and he can only be targeted for battle. Well, he has to be targeted for battle first. And then he can also, when he battles, he gains that monster's attack that he's battling. So you guarantee your 3,000 attack against their monster. And if they happen to get him off the field either through battle or some non-targeting or banishing card effects, well, not banishing because he has to go to a graveyard for this effect. If he's sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle 1 card from your opponent's field into the deck. So it helps get rid of some maybe troublesome cards that maybe stopped you in your plays, and you just have him out to stop it, I guess you could say. 1 Link Spider, use it for your Nibiru token. Just get rid of that disgusting token and just play out your Crusadias into Link Zone, link out to Regulex, and maybe just sit on Ecomax with another Crusadia if possible. LP and Pisty, the main Guard Dragon boys now since Agropan's banned. Special summon from deck and special summon from graveyard or banished. They just help get things going. Sometimes it sucks that they have a limit of only summoning dragons, but it still works for a deck because you're mostly going to be summoning dragons. Hermetic Seal, just to link off your Sayuja and your Pisty once you go into your second Sayuja. And you can tribute himself, you might as well tribute himself, in order to go into, to summon a dragon from your deck. So if your opponent was stopped at that time, you can just continue off from whatever monster you summon from his effect and just go off and knock them out. The 2 Sayuja, surprisingly, it still hasn't been hit on the ban list. A lot of not once per turns, especially if you have multiple copies that you summon. The drawing refills your hand, the summoning helps you get Gamma Seal and maybe some extenders out. An overall good card, so you're just using a ton of decks, and he continue will be for a long time more. FA Dawn Dragster, he is your level 4 and pretty much Arborea summon. Negates a spell and trap just once by reducing its level. You pair this up with your Gamma Seal and your Heretic Seal, and you're pretty much set to stop your opponent. Also, a new thing I like to try, Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. The monster banish is really nice, and if you're able to battle with it, just gaining that extra attack and then going into another opponent's monster, that can just really mess things up. And lastly, Dugarius. Don't go into him too often, but he's always nice to have when I need it, especially for the draw effect. Drawing that extra 2, and even though you discard 1, it's always good to have cards that could refill your hand. You're not going to rely on the battle damage, because if you're using him, then you're going into a different route rather than an OTK. If you want to, you can have him summon to a zone that Equimax might point to, and it might help you out, but frankly, you're just doing this for his draws. And then my side deck, 3 different kaijus: Kamungus, Dogoran, and Jizukiru. This is to sort of help me go into a somewhat kaiju variant and going second variant, just in case my opponent is siding for my normal deck. I can use these 3 to throw them off, and then throw in Revival, especially if I can't get all the monsters they have off the field. Just throw in a kaiju pointing to where Equimax will end up being, then use Crusadia Revival on Equimax, and you can just knock everything out and do a butt ton of damage. 2 Droll Knock. Stop Searching Boy and Bird. Wasn't sure if I was going to see any Spiral. There was only 1 Spiral player and I didn't play him. But it stops a lot of decks. Always good to have. Can always trust on Droll Knock Bird. 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Always have an issue with some back row decks. Always have an issue with Draco, so using this to banish some of their cards is always good to help. And a lot of trap heavy decks like Altergeists, or maybe some Sky Strikers if they're still lingering, is always good to have to use against them. 1 Soul Drain. A lot of decks touch the graveyard, mess with the graveyard, and the banish zone, so this is a good way to stop them. And some opponents just pass turn when they see this activated. Anti-spell as well, similar to Soul Drain and Cosmic, is just to help stop a lot of pendulums I've had an issue with, so this helps stop the pendulums. Evenly matched. If I go second and I'm having issues outing their board with whatever hand I have, just slap this on the board and just clear off all they have. Hopefully it helps me extend in order to do some damage or just be in a better position than they are. And then lastly, 2 There Can Only Be One. A lot of the monsters are different types, so using this to your advantage is always a good idea. You can pretty much just have 1 of everything on the field, and you'll be set. A lot of decks like Cyber Dragons are just machines, Trickstars are fairies, a lot of dragons, a lot of decks that rely on 1 typing, so this helps stop that. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed that deck profile. Crusaders is a really fun deck to play, especially Guard Dragon variant. It lets you go into a lot of different plays. There's a lot of variation with it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Look forward to other members' deck profiles. You can always check out China's right here. And also make sure to subscribe at the bottom or follow this link right here. Thank you for watching.